that down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Netflix, I don't know if you've heard, tends to cancel shows very quickly. After 1 season, 2 seasons, very rarely do they get to 3. Well, one of the shows that just got canceled was a highly anticipated one that a lot of people got excited about when the first trailers dropped. It's the Jeff Goldblum who stars as Zeus in Kaos, which is basically, it's a very creative idea. For those of you who haven't watched Kaos, it's basically imagine the Greek mythologies in a modern world, but the two coexist, and that's when they take place. So you got a lot of the classic tales of Greek mythology that are being played out in a modern context, in a modern world where, yes, everybody in the world knows about the Greek gods, and they know they're there. They know they're on Olympus, and that they come down and interact with us and all this kind of stuff. Interesting, very interesting sounding show. I watched the first 2 episodes, and I tapped out. It wasn't clicking for me. Now, on the other half of the Campea household, my wife Anne, after I tapped out, she secretly continued watching it. Not secretly, just when I wasn't around. She would then continue to watch it, and she liked the show. So for me personally, I think it's a shame that a show that had a lot of people very excited gets canceled after 1 season. But for me, I don't really care because I tapped out. I wasn't going to watch another episode anyway. But anyway, we have somebody in the room who has watched the series and really likes it.
I loved it so much.
Chris, how would you describe Kaos to people? And then ultimately, how do you feel about the news that it gets canceled?
Oh, man. I mean, it's mostly the tale of Eurydice and Orpheus, but with a Jeff Goldblum energy to it. I mean, this guy as the king of the gods.
Tracksuit Mafia,
Zeus.
By the way, he is great in it.
He's fabulous in this. He's such a dick. Oh, he's so good. Everyone in this show is great. Oh my gosh, the songs in it are bangers too. It's got a great soundtrack. There's an original song that was written by Bestiel for it that you can listen to on Spotify if you really dug this show. I'm really, really bummed that this is not getting a second season because we were ending in a really interesting place. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it was making some really cool deviations from Greek mythology. It was doing some really cool world building. There were really interesting moments with the dynamics of these gods. I also just have a real soft spot for this kind of storytelling too. Anything that's based in mythology, anything that has this kind of F the gods energy is really, really my cup of tea. And I thought they did such a great job creating this world because when you have Greek gods living in a modern day setting with people making sacrifices and art and living their lives for deities in such a very, very obvious way, it's really interesting to watch, but then you kind of just relate it to everyday life, right? Where how people can feel about Judaism or Christianity or Islam or anything. But when you have this kind of lens on it, it puts this really interesting spin on how people interpret religion and how they interact with their own religion. So I loved this, and I'm really sad to see it go.
With a Jeff Goldblum spin.
Yeah.
What?
Love him.
Why? Like, as I really like asking this question to somebody who really enjoys the show. Why do you think it didn't connect with a bigger audience? I mean, you have Jeff Goldblum. I thought the trailers looked really good.
I honestly kept wondering why no one was talking about it. In fact, on the show, I would say, why are we not talking about Kaos? It's so good. I actually got my parents to watch it. My dad was super into this show. He loved it, but he had not heard about it. I think this was one of the few ones that Netflix did a decent job marketing. I saw some billboards. It came up on my
I was aware of it for sure.
Yeah, I remember we talked about the trailer on our show when it first dropped. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if people just watched the pilot or maybe the first 2 episodes like you and went, this isn't for me. I was immediately hooked, but I think for a lot of folks, maybe it was they needed to give it 3 or 4 episodes to see how they felt about it. And with everything that's on television right now, that's a pretty big buy-in.
I kind of felt like it was, and this was just my bias, but I was like, oh, this is like a quirkier American Gods.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a natural comparison. Yeah,
absolutely.
Which I really liked American Gods, actually.
I loved American Gods. Great book. Oh my gosh. But I think too with Hades Town, I don't know, maybe people either went, I've already seen this story. Hades Town is out there. There's a Lore of Olympus, the webcomic. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's focused on this kind of stuff. So maybe the market's a little saturated.
Maybe.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Life 360 Tile Trackers. So when I go out, I often bring my little backpack satchel. It's small and just big enough to hold my iPad, a backup battery, my wallet, and a few other things. Anyway, last year at a poker tournament, I thought I lost it. I freaked out for over an hour until I finally realized I had left it in the car. I wish that I had Life 360 Tile Trackers back then. And that's why you need Life 360's Tile Trackers. It's perfect for keeping track of all the important stuff that always seems to go missing. Keys, wallets, backpacks, you name it. If something's nearby, just ring your tile through the app, and if it's far away, you can track it on the map. Super simple. I've even got an electric bike that I keep in my backyard that would be pretty expensive to replace, so I slapped a tile tracker on that too. Instant peace of mind. And here's another thing I love. Unlike some other trackers, Tile won't alert thieves with notifications. It's great for families because it's not just about tracking stuff, it's about that peace of mind. So if you're ready to family-proof your family, head to tile.com and use the code Campea to get 15% off your Tile trackers today. That's tile.com, code Campea. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Did you watch Kaos on Netflix? I mean, Jeff Goldblum was great in it, but some of us tapped out of it early. A lot of you guys never bothered to give it a chance. Some people who did watch it absolutely loved it, but I guess it wasn't enough. Netflix has, as Netflix does, pulled the plug on another show pretty early. Whatever you guys think about that, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.